Hi, Amina. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good, good. Thank you for coming back. I know last week you did a lot of intake work and that was kind of boring, but we'll kind of get to some of the things that you actually want to talk about this week. So thanks for hanging in there last week.
No problem.
So one of the things that you mentioned on your intake last week is that you were interested in possibly losing some weight and living a healthier lifestyle, and that's kind of your main goal right now. Is that right?
Definitely. That's like at the center of everything. It's like what I'm fixated on, really.
Okay.
Just not putting any effort towards it, but yeah, it's like the main goal I have right now.
Okay, so it sounds like your desire is pretty high, but you maybe are struggling a little bit with some action or follow through with getting there. Is that correct? Does that sound right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, okay. So I'm just going to ask you some simple questions to kind of see, what's important and how maybe some suggestions I can make based on what you want to do. So this is your plan and your goals, so we'll do whatever you want to do. So um, are there some ways right now that your current weight or your current health affects your life or the way that you want it to be different?
I think definitely it's really eating at my confidence. Most of my life, I had a very high, like, fast metabolism. I could eat anything I wanted, so I got very accustomed to never dieting, never eating healthy, never looking at nutrition facts, nutrition labels, I should say. So now that I can't eat what I want, even though I still do, it's a lot of guilt. It's a lot of like issues with confidence. Of course, I don't fit into my clothes really anymore. And so I'm not really going out as much because I don't feel as confident when I go out. I don't feel like I look as good as I used to. And then so I'll eat anyway. I'll eat what I want, but then because of that, like while I'm eating, I'm like, oh, I know this is bad. And then especially when I'm done, I feel guilty about it, but can't seem to bring myself to eat better. So it's just like a cycle of a lot of negative emotions and experiences right now. So
Yeah, it does sound like that's a cycle. You eat poorly and then you feel guilty, and then because of your guilt or maybe a little bit of depression based on that, then you eat because sometimes we eat when we are guilty or have depressed. So yeah, there does seem to be a kind of a circular um of feelings, eat, eat. So
yeah,
um
I didn't like my feelings, so that's
yeah.
tough.
Okay. All right. That's been something for you. That's always been an issue you've kind of eaten when
Yeah,
you
just
felt bad.
yeah, with my culture, we put a lot of emphasis on food. Food is very like at social gatherings. We just don't eat healthy at all in my
Hmm.
culture. And you eat when you're happy, when you're sad, when you're hanging out with friends, when you're like food is just at the center point of a lot of our interactions. And so I identify almost with good comfort food. Um, and I almost feel like empty in a way if I'm eating healthy. I don't feel fulfilled, and that kind of emotionally that feels like an emptiness as well as the physical thing going on. It's a lot going on.
Yeah, that is a lot going on. Yeah, I hear you. Um, so if you were to eat healthier, um, and make better choices about what you eat and put into your body, what would that look like? Let's say a year from now, you've been able to eat healthy and feel better about the choices you're making. How would your life look different then than it does now?
I think I would just feel a lot more in control of my life.
Okay.
Physically and emotionally, I just feel better, more energized, and a lot more confident, more proud of myself, and like my belief in my ability to do what I want in all realms, not just eating healthy, would just increase because this is such a big like hurdle for me. So if I got over this, I would be able to believe I can do anything really. So
Okay.
a lot of
Good.
confidence. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
just feeling healthier.
So let's do the same kind of time frame a year from now, but you haven't made any changes. You're still eating things that you feel aren't good for you. You're having some guilt about eating the things you're not supposed to. What do you think your life would look like a year from now without making those changes?
Well, physically, I believe my health is I'm having a lot more health issues too lately. And I think that's directly related to my metabolism is slowing down now. I am overweight for like my BMI is that I'm overweight now. And so I think that I'll have like a lot more health issues moving forward. And then emotionally, just not feeling like myself, not wanting to engage with friends, interact with friends, just kind of being like withdrawn because
Mhm.
of a lack of confidence. So yeah, not in a good place, definitely.
Okay. Is there something that has happened recently that has been a sudden change in how you perceive your weight and your health? Or has this been something that's been kind of ongoing gradually?
Well, I noticed I started just like putting on weight. Maybe I did move. I moved back home
Mhm.
to Chicago a year ago. And since I moved back home, I've gained a ton of weight. When I lived in Missouri for like 6 years, my metabolism was still pretty high when I was in undergrad. But since moving back, that was like a major thing for me too, since I got accustomed to living in Missouri. So since moving back, I've gained so much weight. I guess I got just overzealous about all the food options here, and the stress of moving. That played a role. I've been between different jobs. So a lot of major changes. And of course, my main coping skill with that is eating food. So yeah, I would
So
think.
what do you think you did differently when you lived in Missouri that you are doing now that has maybe, other than obviously it sounds like you've had an enormous amount of stress in the last year. But is there something, your lifestyle was different, or was there something different that you did in Missouri than how you live your life now in Chicago?
I think the lifestyle is just very different. Though it was like a big city in Missouri, it's still not as populous as Chicago.
Right.
City life is definitely stressful in itself. You're definitely like you don't have a lot of space, and that's something I miss too. Like when I was in Missouri, I just couldn't wait to get back to Chicago. But now that I'm here, I miss having like space, like having a parking spot. Knowing that you have a parking spot when you're driving home, and not looking for 30 minutes for a spot. So you feel very like closed in when you're in the city. And I had a lot more space in Missouri. It felt like more freedom in a way, which I didn't really cherish that time. But I took that for granted. And so I was able to just move more freely, and I felt less stress overall because of those things. And I was comfortable in my job there. I was just very situated, and it's been a year since I moved back, and I don't feel situated yet. Um, Ironically, and so I think I was less stressed. I was more motivated to eat better when I was out there because of that. Just had less things on my mind. I couldn't even think like fathom dieting right now here in my current situation. It just would not bring me any joy at all. So I think it was just a different lifestyle there.
Okay. Um, so it sounds to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, that your ultimate goal is to eat better and to live a healthier lifestyle, but maybe the biggest barrier that you have to that right now is your stress level. So do you think that at this moment in time that changing your diet is the most effective way for you um, to change your lifestyle, or would you be interested in maybe addressing the stress first, and then maybe that would give you some better tools in order to, I mean, I hear you saying, you just said it yourself, dieting right now sounds like it's going to take all my joy. So I wonder how motivated you really are to change your eating habits at this moment, if there's something else that we could focus on leading up to that.
Right. No, I think that makes sense because I don't feel motivated really at all to eat better. And so I think getting to the root of the issue is important. And that seems
Mhm.
to be stating like my eating is directly related, right, to how much I feel stressed. So if I could tackle the stress, I think that would be beneficial. But then it's not that I'm not motivated to tackle the stress. It's like I wouldn't even know where to begin with that. But I guess that's one thing.
Okay.
But no, I think that makes sense to first try to delve into what's like stressing me out
Okay.
aside from my weight.
So, um, is there anything in the past? So, focusing on the stress part of it, um, I mean, it sounds like you have had, I mean, undergraduate school, graduate school, moving away from home, moving back to home. It sounds like the last 6, 7 years have been pretty stressful the entire time. So, is there something prior to this year that seems to be harder than before? When you were in Missouri or when you were still living at home the first time, were there things that worked for you to help you reduce your stress?
That's a good question. because I can't really, aside from just saying like it was a different lifestyle, I can't really pinpoint anything because I think
Okay.
like, I wasn't around any family really, and that was the main reason why I wanted to move back. So it's really ironic. I didn't even feel very supported when I lived in Missouri. I really wasn't around family. All my friends kind of moved back to their hometowns after
Sure.
undergrad, and so ironically now I have that support, those natural supports around me, and all of that. But I do feel more stressed. So I'm trying to see like what was different, what was better. And it's hard for me to do that because when I lived in Missouri, I didn't feel like I felt like Chicago was better. And so
Sure.
now I was thinking to really go back and now see, aside from like feeling more free physically, what was better. But I think that's the main thing, really. That I
Okay.
just feel like I could move around and wasn't so stressed out just physically in my environment.
Sure. Okay. So maybe that's something for next time that we can kind of think about as you're going about your day. Think about things that are particularly stressful to you, and then maybe see if you can compare that to a time in the past where you successfully managed that stress, and see if we can identify what's different this time.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that's something that would be beneficial?
No, I think that is a good way to kind of figure out what was like comparing it that way. It's a good way to figure out what's
Hmm.
different. Like when I am actively like looking for things in the day, you can
Hmm.
compare. Cool.
And then maybe we could find a pattern of what seems to be stressing you out the most, because we're obviously not going to alleviate all of your stress in life. But maybe if we can pinpoint a couple of things that are causing you the most stress, we can either reduce those things or work on coping skills in order to kind of de-stress those situations and start there. But I think we need to identify a pattern and identify what it is that's making you feel that way to begin with.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
I'm willing
Okay.
to do that.
So this is ultimately, these are your goals, and these are purely suggestions. So if there's something else that you would like to be working on, next week, if you start doing that and you decide, oh, she's crazy and that's not this stress, this identifying my stress is not working, then we'll scrap it and we'll start over with something different. But I agree with you that I think we need to get to the root problem, and it sounds like stress is that. So,
Yeah. Yeah, that was definitely an epiphany that I came to here. It's
okay,
realizing
good,
like, but yeah.
good. So some action steps for next week is just about your week. Try to identify what's stressing you out. So there's two things: identify what's stressing you out, and then try to think if there's a way you've handled that situation differently in the past that was more successful.
Okay.
And it may not, it may be no, but that'll give us a good place to start.
No, yeah, I agree.
Okay.
And I'll work on that.
Okay, that sounds great. I'll plan on seeing you next week then.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yep, thank you.